All right, what's going on, good people? I want to walk you through an Agentic AI prototype that I have. And then first I'll explain it. Then I'll walk you through a live demo so you can kind of see and understand how it works. But let me first and foremost, let's just explain what this thing really even does. So this is an Agentic AI prototype. This is a Tenable to Jira, excuse me. So basically what this is going to do is the agent is going to go out. It's going to use an API, go out to Tenable. It's going to run a scan on Tenable. Once it runs that scan on Tenable, when the results come back in, it's going to categorize those results based on severity. Once that's done, it's then going to export that over to Jira, which again is a project management software. That way, anybody else on a team that needs to touch it, they'll be able to kind of decide where it goes from there. And I'll walk you through that as we get to it, so it makes a little bit more sense. So just again, how it works. The agent is going to trigger a wait. And then again, the API is going to go out. And then again, this is basically, I'll put this actually in the GitHub. I'm not going to go through it all because I literally just explained it to you. So let's just, let's go ahead and watch this bad boy work. So we are going to go ahead and run this. Run out the bugging. So if we look down here in the terminal, so right now here's the Tenable, and as you can see, let me refresh this so you guys can see. So after refreshing that, where's my slider bar? You can see that the scan is not in here currently, but if we look over here, it says ready to launch scan now. Yes, we want to launch the scan. So that's going to go ahead and launch the scan. It's going to reach out to Tenable, which it already just connected. And then I created a scan template. So it went out and found that template. So current status is pending. So if I refresh this, we can now see that the agent scan is showing up. And then let me open this up so it's bigger. So we can see it's pending. So in a second, this is actually going to start running. And then once this is finished, it's going to pop up. And we'll be able to take a closer look at that. So one of the things that I kind of had to get around was the system was timing out because scans take a while. So that was a little bit of an issue, but worked around that and figured out how to have the agent kind of sit on standby until the actual results come in. So see, now you can see it's pending. So it's going to start running. And then what's going to happen once this scan runs and it's completed, it's going to take the results. And then when I was talking about earlier, Jira, it's going to pull it right into here. So this is empty right now, so there's nothing in here. But what's going to happen is once it's done and they start populating in here, depending on what it finds, then the GRC analysts could take those, decide which vulnerability it wants to remediate, drop that into to-do list, and then someone will take ownership. Well, someone will take ownership and then put it into the to-do list, whether that's someone from, IT, whoever that is that takes ownership at the particular organization. And then once it's on their to-do list, they can then move it to in progress. Once it's maybe fixed or they think it's fixed, it'll be tested so they can move it over to the in review. Obviously, if it is actually remediated, they'll move it right back to done. If it's not remediated, maybe there's an issue. Maybe the fix or the patch or whatever they needed to do didn't quite work. They would move it back to in progress and then hand it back over to that team. Once, again, they remediate it, hopefully this time a proper solution. It would go back in and review. It would be reviewed. And then once it's actually finally done, they can click it into done. And again, that's a vulnerability that's no longer on the books, and they're done with that. So as you can see now, the scan is running. And then if we jump back over to anti-gravity here, you can see the status is waiting and it's pending. And I'm going to go ahead and pause it because it does take a few minutes for the scan to run, and I'll come back when the scan is done. All right, so cool. The scan is complete. So again, the scan, the agent actually went out. It pulled the scan template, which was called agent test scan. Once it did that, it put the target IP in. Once it put that in, it ran the scan. As we can see, the scan is complete. There was 43 findings. Out of those 43 findings, it narrowed it down to the 5 that were the highest priority based on risk rating. So we'll pull that up. Let's see what we got. So you can see scan was complete. So we'll click on this. Took 8 minutes to scan. Let's see all details. So if we take a look here, we had 4 mediums, 1 low, and then info. So what I did was I had the agent, because I didn't know what was going to pull up on this scan. So normally you'd probably only send over critical vulnerabilities, maybe high vulnerabilities. That's probably what you would send over to Jira. But since I didn't know what it was going to pull, I just sent over anything that pulled, whether it was critical, high, medium, or low, just so we could see what happened. So if we go over to Jira, you can see now that they've populated in here. Show them in list form because I think that's how I originally showed you. So you can see these just popped up. These are all brand new. They're not assigned to anybody. So if we click on these, it's going to give you the CVSS rating. Now, again, this is a low, so it's not even going to have one because it's the baseline CVSS score. So let me just click on at least a medium one. So if we click on the medium, the baseline is 6.5. Tells you the asset, tells you the severity. It also tells you the solution, how to fix it. So then at this point, what would happen is someone would take responsibility of this. They would assign it to themselves. So again, since this is a sandbox environment, I'm just going to assign it to myself. Let's go to the board so I can show you how this would work. So I assigned it to myself. So now then I would move it over to, let's say, my to-do list. And then let's say I started working on remediation. It's in progress. You'd move it over. Let's say I remediated it. It was all good to go. Someone's going to review that, make sure, it's actually fixed, the patch worked, or whatever needed to be done. If it did work, you'd move it over to done. If it didn't work, it would go back to in progress, so on and so forth. And again, you can see everything that kind of pulled up here. So again, I just wanted to give you guys a view, a little demo. It's just a prototype, but it's a working prototype. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys got some value, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.